All right, folks, it's Mark Spencer from Ohio News and Weather again. I apologize about that. Not really sure why the stream was dropping off. I'm hoping that we can get through this here. Um, Whatever reason, the connection right now just not super great. I'm not really sure why, but we'll see what we can do and try to work our best with it here. But right now, it seems to be a little bit better. I'm going to just jump on screen here real quick. What we're looking at is our velocity right now off the Wilmington radar here. And here's our initial tornado warning for the just northwest of Cincinnati. Nothing really spinning on this. I don't think there's really a tornado threat here at this point, and this will probably be allowed to expire. Down here, we're actually looking kind of where this cluster of lightning is, and that is still in Indiana, a little west of Rising Sun, near Cross Plains. There's not a whole lot out here. Not a ton of rotation, but definitely some shear for sure. So as this continues to move off to the east and northeast, we definitely want to keep an eye on it. Here's the Ohio River, of course, the Indiana-Kentucky border. Then we have Burlington, Florence, Kentucky, and right there is Cincinnati International Airport. Union here is I-75, I-71. And we'll just kind of keep an eye on this as it continues to push off to the east and northeast, just because that could eventually make it to Ohio, which is, out here. We do have a new tornado warning. I'm kind of interested that they continued this here. Brand new tornado warning. This is going to be north of Cincy for northeastern Butler and northwestern Warren County until 9 o'clock. It's over 7 mile right now, moving to the east at 45 miles an hour. So a lot of towns here: Franklin, 7 Mile, Fort Ancient, Williamsdale, Collinsville, Mauston, Pekin, Gentown, South Middleton, New Miami, Hunter, Monroe, Jacksonburg, Lebanon, let's see, 5 Points, Springboro, and Trenton as well. This, of course, affects both I-71 and I-75 in these areas. This is radar indicated rotation. Could be some hail with it as well. If it's here, it's going to be pretty much right here, folks. Pretty much right between New Miami and 7 Mile, right along, you are just really just west of US 127. If there's something that's going to be right on the leading edge of that line of storms, it would be very brief. If it does, it'd touch down, do something, and then pretty much pop right back up, what we call a quasi-linear convective tornado. Basically, it's very, very brief. It's basically a quick spin up. It's still a tornado, but it doesn't do a whole lot because it's only on the ground briefly. They're very hard to spot on radar too because of how brief they are. We actually saw that not too long ago with the tornado hit the Cincinnati airport about a week ago. Basically the same thing. It's only on the ground for 2, maybe 3 minutes, just enough time to do some damage, pop back up, and that was it. And this is kind of the same ordeal here as well. The reason it gets caught, well, we're looking for them tonight. That time, they really weren't expected at that point. But we're keeping our close eye on this type of stuff. So this looks like it has the potential. In a couple minutes, this will probably change quite a bit for better or worse, but it can still do damage. It can still damage somebody's house, a business. It can still do quite a bit. If you're in Trenton or South Middletown, now's the time to take shelter right now, really. If you are a little bit further east of that, Blue Ball, Mayfield, now's Monroe even, now's the time you really want to start thinking about making those last preparations and taking shelter. It's just moving east pretty quick, so it can really get in your neighborhood really fast. It's only about maybe I'll say 5 to 8 minutes or so from I-75. So if you're right along I-75 over there, Middletown, Franklin, Springboro, Hunter, Red Lion, really now's the time you need to go take shelter. It is not all that far away. We're looking at a radar update here, hopefully in just the next few seconds here. It looks like our stream's doing a lot better. Again, I apologize, folks. Waiting on that update to come in. Hasn't quite yet. Let's flip over to reflectivity, see if we happen to see anything there. It's just a little bit. So kind of what I want to point out here that we were talking about, these little spin-ups right over New Miami here. Kind of see that little finger pointing out. So that's our kind of area of rotation that matches up with our velocity we're just looking at as well. they're very hard to spot. It doesn't really look like you would expect a classic tornado, the big hook gecko supercell type thing. It doesn't quite have that look, but it's there, but just in a different manner. This isn't necessarily a supercell just because it produces a tornado either, but it's a whole different setup. This one's a little bit more tricky to see. I'm going to flip back over to velocity here and see if we got an update on it. Oh, we did. Okay, excellent. Just as we flip back over there. Actually, this picked up just a little bit, believe it or not. And we got a little bit more rotation here right now, right along the front of it, just passing over US 127 and just east. So again, heading towards Trenton, South Middletown, and Middletown itself, and then Monroe and I-75. Again, probably in about 5 minutes or so to I-75. So take shelter now if you're Trenton or east. If you're west of Trenton, you need to be hurrying to the shelter right now, especially if you're between Trenton and Woodsdale. There we go. There's another update on that. You can see that rotation's definitely there. So this is likely trying to get something going, if anything, a wall cloud, maybe a funnel cloud even perhaps as well. I do want to flip over to one other product here real quick. We call it correlation coefficient, and we use that to see if there's any debris that may have been lofted. Right now it's pretty grainy because we're semi-close to the radar in a sense, but not really seeing anything that sticks out. It's possible there is something. I'm just going to come on the screen real fast, maybe right in here, but sometimes when we get these lines, again, it looks like this, so it's very difficult to see. We really need a big drop, which you mean we had a bunch of debris get lofted into the air, and sometimes with these lines, the front end gets a bit messy because it's not correlating too well because of what it was seen for whatever reason, just one of those limitations. But we're going to definitely keep a close eye on that. We'll keep the radar pinned to that. I'm going to jump to another here real quick. Just an update here on our tornado warning further south. It's still active. It's not in Ohio. It's right up to the border. Again, still radar indicated tornado, so not necessarily producing, but could produce, very possible could produce. Our severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. I do want to note that there is now a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northern Huron, Ottawa, eastern Seneca, Erie County, and eastern Sandusky County. That's all pretty much in north central, northwestern Ohio. So those cells are starting to get robust and pick up now too. That goes until 9:15. That whole line of storms is moving northeast at 50 miles an hour with 60-mile-an-hour winds possible. Pretty much on a line from Port Clinton to Clyde to Tiffin. And there'll be some other places impacted by that as well. Bellevue, Norwalk, Wakeman, Sandusky, Fremont. To an extent, it's moving out of Fremont right now. Republic and Castalia as well is in there. So again, that's all moving off. I know I don't have that up on the radar, folks. I really want to focus here on our tornado warning storms in southwestern Ohio. We can kind of see right over Miltonville right now is where that rotation kind of is. It's a little bit broken up. Again, we're right along that front edge here, but it's right here, and it's moving to south end of Middletown and then into South Middletown. And then that's pretty much heading towards I-75 near Hunter, and then also on to Red Lion. So it's pretty much moving this fashion. It could shift a little bit because the whole line is kind of moving to the north and east. Everything's kind of moving this way on it in a sense. Not to that extreme, but it kind of is. So if you are south right now, if you're anywhere along US 127, this tornado warning, you guys are good. You're getting a pretty good storm right now, but the tornado threat is actually east of you. So for the tornado threat, you're clear, but you're still getting a pretty good storm. I know this doesn't show it. We're not looking at reflectivity. Hamilton, same deal for you. If you're in Woodsdale, Maudstown, or anywhere along the southern edge of this here, south of Monroe, I think you guys are fine. Even further east towards Lebanon, I think you're fine right now, unless this storm takes a hard right turn. That would be a bit unusual with this setup, but we'll keep an eye on this stuff right now. So keep your guard up, but I think right now, for the most part, the biggest threat is right here, right over Miltonville, just to the north of Trenton, moving into Middletown and South Middletown at the moment. That's where really our biggest potential. We could see something develop here. If it does develop, this could end up just kind of washing out and being more linear here in the next scan momentarily when that comes in as well. It looks like it's going to be in just a few seconds, so we'll see what happens here. Not quite. Okay, let's flip over to our reflectivity, because again, sometimes we can see some things on there. Yep, okay, so again, pretty nice storm along US 127, Collinsville, 7 Mile, New Miami. A lot of heavy rain, some hail, lightning. We don't see too much going on right here. Gonna watch down here around Woodsdale. There is also, well, there wasn't anything on our velocity down here, so this may not be much. Without expanding out, it's hard to say. And I don't want to get too crazy with you on moving the radar picture around a ton. I will pop it out just a touch here. Yeah, there's not a whole lot there right now. No, not really. Okay, and then we even got our update here on our velocity product, and right over Middletown right now is pretty much where we'd expect the rotation, but again, we don't see a whole lot. It's getting kind of muddy again, so that's kind of what we expect in this setup at times, so we can't really pinpoint things too crazy. So that's really about it. It's not crazy rotation. It's not going to jump out red and green right next to each other. You know, it just doesn't. I know we see some of that. Like if I really zoom in, we go, oh, look, here's red and green right next to one another. Yeah, but these are very, very weak. We're talking, you know, 5, 10, maybe 15 miles an hour of the wind, and that's about it. But this is very, very small. You know, we need to see a little bit more than that. We don't really have the full picture of that here. So yeah, it's really not something that's gonna just jump out and come up on us here. So yeah, I don't see a whole lot. We're gonna stay with it and everything, but not a big threat right now. Let me look at a different, some of these don't work. Just kind of want to look higher up, and so the radar basically a tilt, if you will. So we're going to be looking a little bit higher up here. At this tilt, we're looking at about 4,600 feet. This is a little bit behind. It's about 5 minutes old, but when we go back, we can kind of see there was a little bit of rotation there aloft. So I think that's really what prompted the warning. But again, it's not translating great down to the surface. Now, right over South Middletown here, that could spin back up a little bit. I think that looks slightly better, but again, we're really nitpicking here at this point. It's not super great, but it is something. It could possibly do something. I think if it did, it would be very, very brief. I want to make sure we're okay. Okay, so our tornado warning into Kentucky has been allowed to expire. However, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for the Cincinnati metro. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Hamilton, southeastern Butler, Claremont, and southwestern Warren counties until 9:45. And this is that line of storms that's pretty much approaching the Ohio River right now, the Indiana, Kentucky portion, and then also just west of downtown Cincinnati. It's all moving east at 50 miles an hour, 60 mile an hour wind gusts. I'll pop over to the other radar here just for a second to show it to you as well. So let's go ahead and go to that. And a whole bunch of places impacted, but pretty much if you are east of the Cincinnati metro, you're impacted by it. So our warning is this huge box here. It goes a little bit further north as well, but you can see the entire Cincinnati metro is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Here's our storms back here over Lawrenceburg, Indiana, getting into, that's coming into Burlington just about, Florence, Kentucky, and then of course we got the west side of Cincinnati right here really getting impacted. That's a pretty strong cell embedded in with that system. That could be producing some hail, as indicated by that little triangle. That's usually some small hail by that sign. Definitely some very heavy rain. We also have some wind down here just south of Lawrenceburg. Here's the Ohio River, the Indiana-Kentucky border towards Rising Sun. This has got some wind. This could eventually make it into Ohio here. It's moving generally east, so that'll definitely miss Cincinnati, but it could impact the south side here towards Batavia, Amelia, and then places further east. That could be some pretty decent wind. Again, it's just something we're gonna have to watch as it gets a little closer as to what it does. That was tornado warned previously. It is not tornado warned now. As you can see, it's more of a line, so that is a good thing in a sense. They did update the tornado warning further north here. Right now they have it located over South Middletown, moving east at 45 miles an hour. No reports of anything so far, guys. That's good. It's radar indicated. So again, that's also good. Flipping back over to it here. Again, I don't see much. It's basically right here, just to the southeast of South Middletown, south of Mayfield, right here. This is basically our area of interest, if you will, or a bit of a concern even. That's moving east. This red line, that's I-75. And then, of course, as we get further east, this is pretty much going to stay just near and south of Hunter, Red Lion, and then move off towards the northern reaches of Lebanon there as well. It's going to stay, I think, just north of Monroe, just barely. But as it crosses I-75, which it'll probably do here in about the next couple minutes. So if you are in this area, I would certainly be taking shelter just as a precaution. No confirmed reports of a tornado or funnel cloud or even a wall cloud. Nothing right now. It's all radar indicated. But if this does drop, it's going to be brief. It'll do a little bit of damage and then it'll go away. You can see it's just now just west of I-75 in that update. So about another minute, it's going to cross I-75. It'll be east of there. And again, not a ton, but still a bit of a concern. But this is a pretty small area just south of Blue Ball. We're north of Monroe. We're going to probably stay just south of Hunter and just south of Red Lion. And then we're going to start getting into that northwestern portion of Lebanon there in about 5 minutes at the most. Again, kind of moving east fairly quick, about 45, 50 miles an hour. Check the warning again on the time they had in there, 45 miles an hour. Okay. And we'll pan out a little bit further east on that too and get a little bit better view. There we go. Not a ton, a lot, some more rural areas, but still plenty of residential in there. So if you are in this area, if you're near the Lebanon Warren County Airport, I would definitely take shelter. It's going to pass probably just north of the airport at the way it looks right now. And I definitely want to make sure we keep an eye on our other things as well. No signs of an additional watch being issued east of our current watches. We have the severe thunderstorm watch for northwestern Ohio expiring at 10. There's not a whole lot of that left. It's been allowed to generally be expired. Our tornado watch goes until 1 a.m. The threat, though, is probably only going to last maybe another hour across a good portion of it before a lot of it gets canceled as well. Again, a lot of this is now moving east pretty quick, so we'll see some wind out of it. Do have the severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for northern Huron, northeastern Seneca, Erie, and southeastern Sandusky counties. That goes until 9:15. 60-mile-an-hour winds possible there. Some heavy rain too along with that. There's a report of 1-inch size hail near Coverdale and Hamilton County, right along the river there, just north of the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport. Right along, what is that there? That is, oh, I don't remember. I think it's US 50. Yes. So right along over in there. So there is some hail with that cell. Now moving into the western Cincinnati metro, and I will take you there actually real quick. I do want to flop down there just because that is pretty strong. Yeah, just now getting into, there's our 1-inch hail down here. I'll point it out in a second. But right over North College Hill, just south of Northgate, really including Northgate as well. That's a pretty strong cell. Here's our 1-inch hail report from this cell. So you could be seeing some decently large hail, North College Hill, heading towards Green Hill, Sharonville, Reading, I-71. I believe, I'm sorry, that is not I-71, my bad. This is, where am I at here? So we got Covington, Cincinnati, we got 71 here, that's 75, my bad folks. They all look the same sometimes. Then we have the I-275 corridor as well. I know the area, I really do. I'm not from the area, but I know it, just sometimes all these look the same. They all run the same direction. But anyways, heavy rain, some hail, definitely take shelter. Could see some strong winds with that, up to 60 miles an hour perhaps as well. That's heading towards Blue Ash, a village of Indian Hill. All in about the next 10 minutes, it should make it over towards the I-71 corridor and the eastern I-275 area along and east of I-71. See, I got it. I know what it is. Just got to give me a minute sometimes. It's been a day. But yeah, so we're not seeing crazy strong winds on the radar, but they're certainly there. If we look at maybe some higher tilts, we might see some stronger winds here. Well, nothing there, nothing there. Not gonna see it on that one. Yeah, there are some stronger winds aloft, but we're looking 6,000 feet in the air or more. Hard to say that's going to translate down to the surface sometimes too well. It all depends. So let's go back up here. So we'll look at a couple things here. This is kind of interesting. All right, so definitely look at our tornado warning cell here. This has changed a little bit, folks. It really has. We might be looking at almost 2 areas of rotation. So let's start with reflectivity here. I want to show you this because we have this nice little appendage here kind of sticking out. When we see lines and we have this sticking out, we don't like this. This is usually things wrapping back in, and there is rotation here, and they did put out a new tornado warning. See that? They warned it. Excellent. Okay, I like that move right there. I'm going to show base velocity on this. I don't like the big warning that they issued. This is base velocity. We don't have reds and greens, but this right here, when we see this green, which is not very fast wind speeds, and all of a sudden we have this increase right here, usually a telltale sign that we got something going on. And those wind speeds right now are 70 plus miles per hour. If we click over to our velocity, our other velocity product, this is storm relative, takes the storm motion out of it. You can see we have a little bit of rotation here, and we got a little bit, not much, between red line and the Warren County Airport. Just south of the Warren County Airport, this is going to, just south of it is this area right here, and then it's going to move into Lebanon. So if you're in Lebanon, now's the time to take shelter. This is about 5-6 minutes out of downtown Lebanon, and it could get very, very close to you. So that is an area of concern. I do not like this big, huge warning box, but I might see why they have it here. So I want to read it first. The tornado warning they just issued for southeastern Butler, Warren, and northwestern Clinton County until 9:30. They're looking at the storm over Mason on this. And that's what I see. That's moving towards South Lebanon. It's pretty much right along I-71 right now. I'll point it out in just a second. But if you're in South Lebanon, you want to take cover right now. That one's looking a little bit more promising. I'm going to do a quick little flip and a flip again. Yeah, that one's looking good. So we have right here on our reflectivity, we got, again, this appendage. We have this inflow notch right here. Everything's rotating this way, right? It's right over I-71, just to the southwest of South Lebanon, moving towards South Lebanon pretty rapidly. And we can kind of see, this one's probably the best one I got so far. Okay, so right here, just to the east of Mason, I-71's right here. It's hard to see. I know it's red. South Lebanon, Zor, Morrow, not Zor, Tuscarawas County, but right here, that's some pretty good rotation right there. That could possibly be producing at least a wall cloud. And if you are in this area, you want to take shelter. If you're out towards Clarksville, you really want to keep an eye on this right now. That could stay south. You had to keep a close eye on it. If you're on the north side of Mainville, you want to keep a close eye on this. This is definitely some of the more, we'll call it intense rotation we've seen. It's not even all that intense, but it's definitely some of the more intense rotation. It doesn't take much for these to really spin up and produce a quick tornado. Again, this is a populated area, so that could cause some damage down there for sure. So definitely do that. Again, let's go up further north, right over the Warren County Airport right now is also another area of rotation. That's the one we've been watching, south of Red Lion, right here, that 68 degree. That's Warren County Airport right now. That's their last reported temperature last hour. That's going to hit, okay, there it is, new update. Northern side of Lebanon right there, right? So that is definitely trying to produce something there as well. It's really trying to wrap something in. If you're in Oregonia, now's the time to take shelter. North side of Lebanon needs to be taking shelter right now. No time to waste there. If you're in Waynesville, right now, Waynesville, I think you're okay. The warning box kind of splits town there. And this is all going to stay to the south of you. If you're in Harveysburg, you're going to want to take shelter as well. And yeah, right over I-71, just south of South Lebanon, it's about to move in. This one doesn't look good, guys. This one's trying to produce right here. That's really strong rotation for what we see with these types of storms. So this may very well be producing a tornado right now, and that's approaching State Route 48, just north of Hopkinsville, right along and north of US 22. It's almost going to parallel it for at least a little bit. It'll stay south of I-71. So if you're, again, Zor, Morrow, South Lebanon, anywhere just east of there, you're going to want to take cover right now. If you know somebody in that area, get on the horn with them. Let them know that there's that coming. It is not looking good. I believe that is also near Kings Island. I think it's just east of there now. There's an update on the warning here. Yep, it was right over Kings Island. Okay, right there. Moving east at 50. It's still radar indicated, but that's a really populated area right there, and that is definitely not a great place to be for a tornado, unfortunately. Not seeing, the good news is we're not seeing debris getting lofted right now, so that's a good thing, but that could change in a hurry. Yeah, see, that's all going to be rain wrapped. You're not going to see this tornado. These aren't the tornadoes you see out in Oklahoma and Kansas, guys. It's dark out, heavy rain, it's wrapped in it. You're never going to see it actually hit. So don't go out and try to see the tornado. Our folks in Lebanon, just north of there, I do want to still pay attention to you. It is definitely not as strong as the one near Kings Island, just south of South Lebanon. I'm going to try to keep both up. This is going to be a little hard. We got two areas of rotation. We got our northern area rotation that is just to the north of Lebanon. We have our southern area rotation that is now moving into Zor through the south side of South Lebanon as well. Now out here, fortunately, it's not super populated, but there's plenty of houses out here. There are things here. If you're in Oregonia or near Oregonia, you're going to need to be taking shelter right now. This cell here is, it's not quite, well, I-71 goes off this way, my bad, I see it now. But it's not quite there, but it's coming your way. If you're in Zor or Morrow along US 22, you need to be in shelter right now, to be honest with you. If you're not there, get there now. That is our stronger area of rotation. This one here, it's really trying to get its act together again. It seems to be cycling around, but what I mean by that is sometimes these storms need to reset a little bit. They'll get something going and then it'll kind of weaken, but it needs to kind of reset a little bit and recharge almost, so it'll cycle back around and then it'll reproduce again, or at least show signs of possibly producing something. Right now, this one here is looking on the south side of South Lebanon, is looking the most concerning of these two, but both of these are certainly concerning right now. This one looking more ominous than the one that is north of Lebanon here at this time. Should have a radar update almost any moment here. Yeah, it looks like just a few seconds. So while we're waiting, I just want to pop over to our reflectivity as well. Yeah, see, it doesn't look tornadic at all, but when we start throwing in velocity scans and stuff, it starts looking a little more ominous. We did just get an update on that, but not a whole lot has changed. Except that northern side is starting to really pick up. a little bit more here. And let me try to move this out just a little bit because our banner is kind of covering it a little bit. I can't see the banner, by the way, on certain things, and on other things I can see the banner. So I had to adjust some things. I realized earlier that the banner was actually in front of me, so if I were to walk in front of it with my hands in front of it, you wouldn't see it. So I made sure to fix that. But this is definitely trying to now rotate a little bit more. So again, if you're near or north of Oregonia, you need to be in shelter. Again, not super populous out there, but definitely still homes and some businesses. Down towards Zor, where the other rotation is, it's still there. So if you're along US 22 from Zor to Morrow, you need to be taking shelter. That's going to parallel 22 to about Morrow. So then when that starts turning to the north and east to get into Wilmington, this should eventually continue east. So that's going to parallel US 22 for the next several minutes. So if you're along that, you should be taking shelter right now. Up here towards Oregonia, again, not a whole lot, but I'm not sure what this road is, unfortunately. I think that's US 42. I believe that is US 42 right now. So it's pretty much passing over it at this time. It's probably just east of it, really, because the radar's behind. There it is. And you can see that is now wrapping in a lot better now. So now we have some really good rotation here, just east of 42, and it's still, again, near Morrow now. Still some rotation right along US 22 at this point in time. So these two areas, especially this northern one, that is definitely a little bit more on the concerning side of things. Again, weird how this bounces back and forth, isn't it? That's kind of how these systems work. Again, it doesn't look tornadic on what you see as radar generally and an app, and then until we start digging a little bit further, and then we see things. Okay, so looking at our correlation coefficient right now, still kind of noisy. I don't really see anything that sticks out yeah, not a whole lot there. It's still very, very noisy. So we're gonna just kind of stick with that. While we're waiting on our next update in about the next minute or so, looks like we had 3/4 inch hail near Bridgetown, Hamilton County, and the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International Airport reported a wind gust of 52 miles an hour. We had 53 in New Middletown and 49 in North Springboro in Montgomery County. Moved through with that line. Right now, storms moving through Dayton. Let me click over just real fast on that. I want to make sure you guys see it too. So here we go. Real quick, then we're going to get back to our tornado warning, I promise. I-75 right now looking quite slow travel, if you will. Pretty nice heavy line of showers and storms all along it, from pretty much just east of Troy through the Dayton Metro and all the way down to Cincinnati, seeing a very potent line of showers and storms. That's, again, moving off to the east pretty quick, 45, 50 miles an hour. So that's going to get to Columbus in probably a little over an hour right now, maybe just under that, especially if the motion were to happen to pick up just a touch. Again, here's our tornado watch till 1 a.m. Nothing off to the east of it right now. Do want to get back to the tornado warning because that is a little bit more important. So let's flip back over to here. Here we go. And oh yeah, okay, so while we were doing that, we just got an update too, and that northern side is really cooking. They also updated the warning. Let me read that real quick. Right now, no reports of anything. Of course, it's dark out and it's all rain wrapped, so it's gonna be really hard to see. It'd be very dangerous to be out there to try to see anything. But right now, just north of Oregonia is where is one of two areas of concern. And that's moving towards Harveysburg. If you're in Harveysburg or right around there, you need to be taking shelter right now. Right now, our other area of rotation along US 22 is along, pretty much right along the south side of it, just southeast of Morrow. And it's going to parallel it just a little bit longer. And again, when this starts turning to the northeast on 22, this is pretty much going to continue almost due east. It'll stay on the south side of it. Here's I-71. Wilmington is over here off to the east. Both of these should not impact Wilmington, but this one here to our north is certainly more concerning. Let me get back up there. Again, that's moving towards Harveysburg. there's not a whole lot. You can see not a lot of towns popping up. South of Waynesville, just a little south of Waynesville there. And then we don't really have anything along I-71 here. So there's a lot of farmland out here. But if you do know anybody out there, now's the time to take shelter for sure. This is definitely not a storm you want to really mess with. So let me make sure we're still good there. Just want to make sure everything is still working pretty good here. That's for sure. And yeah, we got that. Okay. All right, just wanted to make sure we were okay there on everything. It looks like we're doing okay stream-wise, so that's good. Hopefully we don't have too many more issues there. I'm trying to monitor the comments and everything. Again, little bit hard kind of bouncing back and forth here. But let me just try to do this. Okay, new tornado warning out. This is excellent because I think this is warranted. All right, listen up, everybody. Here we go. New tornado warning. A new one for northeastern Warren County, western Fayette, northern Clinton County, and southeastern Greene County. This goes until 9:45, so it's about the next 35 minutes. This is for that nice big area rotation south of Waynesville, just west of Harveysburg. It's moving east at 55 miles an hour. No confirmed tornado, but it's certainly pretty strong. So you want to take shelter. Got a lot of areas in the path here. Some of them will not populate on the map. Paintersville, Melvin, Octa, Rosemore, Mount Holly, Lumberton, Oakland, Sabina, Corwin, Cedar Creek State Park, the north, we'll call it the north side of Wilmington, but Wilmington, I think you're going to be okay. We got Kingman, Oregonia, Staunton, Milledgeville, Bloomington, Middleton Corner, and Jasper Hills. If you're along I-71 between mile markers 36 and 67, that affects you as well. Yeah, pretty strong rotation there. That is certainly spinning pretty well. So there's some pretty strong winds. Here's what it looks like on our base velocity. We don't see necessarily reds and greens next to one another, but we saw some really strong blues and kind of those greens there. And that's another indication. Right over Harveysburg right now, we got an update on that. And just south of Morrow, here's our other area of rotation as well that we're keeping an eye on. And that's certainly still strong. I'm not so sure they're going to throw a new warning up on that one, but I think right now they're going to watch it. If you are near Cuba, I would keep a very close eye on that. That's going to move close to you. If this is starting to cycle back around a little bit, then that could certainly affect you for sure. So right now, Harveysburg along State Route 73 towards I-71. If you're over in that area, you need to take shelter because that's going to affect you. But you can see how big this warning box is. It's kind of quite large. Goes out quite a bit. We'll kind of see what happens with this one. It's quite interesting that this is staying this long. Now, if we look at our reflectivity product, doesn't look all that concerning, but now we're starting to see some signs here. We got this little appendage here, right? So we got inflow right along it. It's wrapping back around right over its Harveysburg there. So this is a little bit more indicative of tornadic activity. We're doing the same thing down here with our southern storm that's moving out of Morrow now along US 22. Even right in here, we have a little bit of inflow as well. It's a little hard to see because, again, I'm so spanned out, but a new update there just kind of shows that a little bit better. This one, not so much, but this one near Harveysburg is definitely a fairly healthy storm, to say the least. Definitely want to switch over to CC. Nothing there. Yeah, we're getting too close to the radar, unfortunately. As we get too close to radar, CC kind of becomes... Oh, my, that fell over. Lost the light, guys. Let me put my light back up. There we go. Sorry about the noise. We have box lights to light the green screen. Yeah, CC's, we're just too close to CC. All right, enough of that. Let's go back over here to these two storms. My apologies. Oh my, that woke me up. Not that I needed to be anymore. All right, from the Storm Prediction Center, we got some updates here real quick. They did expand the tornado watch for into central Ohio. The one that we had currently goes now towards, includes the Columbus metro area, Newark. We get down into Lancaster, Logan, Chillicothe, down towards Portsmouth. So that's until 1 a.m. They did extend it locally. Also gets up towards the Marysville area as well. So if you're in that area, Columbus metro, Newark, west, down south towards Chillicothe, and Portsmouth, you are in that tornado watch until 1 a.m. So they did do that. They are monitoring for an additional watch downstream from there. Not sure what it's going to be, but they're going to keep watching things. If we continue to see these spin-ups like this, it's very possible we could see a downstream tornado watch for southeastern Ohio. Just keep that in mind. But as of right now, hard to say. Just wanted to point that out real quick, because right now, right along State Route 73, just outside of Harveysburg, that, folks, is what we want to see if we're looking for a tornado right here. Reds, greens, I know it's bluish. It's pretty strong winds. That's greater than 70 miles an hour on that side. This is definitely trying to produce something if it's not already producing something. Again, it's dark. It's 9:15 at night. This is wrapped in rain. You're not going to see it. This is why I need to take shelter. And just like that, look at that. Boom. Where did it go? It kind of lifted a little bit. Now, we're going to get kind of close to the radar, too. So the feed as well is not going to be as great. Let's go down here for our other storm real quick, just south of Clarksville. Clarksville, I think you're going to be okay. This can't turn left on you, head north. It's trying to, I think this one's trying to still cycle back around. It's still trying to get its act together down here. So I definitely want to keep an eye on this one. It's not real bad. If anything, there's maybe a wall cloud in there, but it's not doing a ton right now, but it's still trying to keep going. And even up here towards Harveysburg, again, we're going to get into, this is going to be really interesting. You see how this purple isn't a reflectivity value at all. That's what's called range folding or ducting. So basically what's happening here is the radar beam isn't making it back to the radar very well. It's like an error. So instead of the radar beam going out, hitting something, and then coming back to the radar, it's hitting something and then being refracted in some way, in some angle, and it's not really coming back towards the radar. So it's what we call range folding or ducting. And so when we get into that, unfortunately, as this moves in there, you can kind of see everything gets kind of muddy. We may not see this very well. It may seem to almost disappear. And that's where things get a little concerning. This is just a limitation of radar. You can't fix this because it's depending on atmospheric conditions and all sorts of things. This can change wildly. Just because it's here today doesn't mean it's going to be there tomorrow. It could be down here. It could be to the east. It doesn't really matter. It just has to do with everything moving in. It's bouncing off things and it's not making it back to the radar, unfortunately. If this continues like this, we may not see this picture for very long until it gets through this, and you can see that's going to take a little bit. But we'll keep an eye on it. That's also why I have the warning there as well. And yep, and that's exactly what's happening now. It's starting to impact with that. They did update the old warning, it looks like. Yeah, no reports of anything yet. So in a way, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I do think it may have produced something back there by Harveysburg. No reports of damage or anything like that right now, but I do think it may have produced something. It's very possible it produced something. All right, just checking on a couple things. Our severe thunderstorm watch for northwestern Ohio is only in effect for 3 counties right now. That would be Erie, and it looks like it would also be for Wyandotte and trying to do my counties in my head, and gosh darn, I can't. Around the Tiffin area. That's all we have left. That goes until 10 o'clock, and I think at this point they're probably just going to let it expire out. But north of I-70 right now is generally pretty quiet. We have some storms moving east towards the Cleveland metro. We'll flip over to it real quick. How's that sound? but they're not really doing anything much. There we go. You kind of see our severe thunderstorm watch is broken up just for these 3 counties, just to account for this line. Nothing to the east, Cleveland Metro and east, you're not under any sort of severe weather watch. Could see maybe a severe thunderstorm warning pop up somewhere if something just happens to get its act together. But right now, these are not warnings, these are watches here. No active warnings. All of our warnings are down here in southwestern Ohio right now. And you can see here's our tornado watch in red that goes all the way to the Ohio River. I'll expand this out just a touch more here so you can see that. Actually gets to the Ohio River for the most part. Right here, that goes until 1 a.m. What they did is they locally extended the watch. Our pink area here, this is what the Storm Prediction Center is watching. So they circled this for 2 reasons. One, they wanted to account for locally extending the watch that they coordinated with the local weather service office. And they're thinking about another downstream watch across southeastern Ohio into West Virginia. Don't know what. I think what they're going to do is they're going to wait a little bit, kind of see what happens with this line as it moves further east before they decide on what type of watch. If I had to guess, I'd lean towards... Okay, sorry about that. We dropped off the stream there real quick. My bad. I don't know why it's just not working great tonight, folks. Tornado warning until 9:45, southwestern Fayette, central Clinton, north central Highland County, moving east at 55 miles an hour. It's just west of Cuba right now. It's also going to affect portions near Martinsville. It doesn't include Wilmington, but it's very near and just south of Wilmington Air Park right now. Also moving towards Leesburg, and that's about it. Okay, so if you're in that area, now's the time to take shelter, folks. Especially if you're in Cuba, you need to be in shelter right now. That is pretty much passing over US 68, just south of Cuba. It's not super potent, but it's there. Our northern tornado warning, you can see we kind of lost that rotation. I think we're in this area of ducting here, this mess. And I think we're not going to really see anything until this kind of clears itself up and maybe moves a little east as well. I think once we get east of 71 here, it looks like our area rotation is right about here, 71 at, I know that one. It's a US route 68. I knew it was 68. We just said it. It's in Cuba. 68, 71 to 68. Just west of there right now is our other area of rotation that we've been watching for quite a while. The one we had really pretty potent there right around Harveysburg. And that's, again, continue to move off the east. Doesn't look as good as it did earlier. But again, we're kind of in this area of we'll call it that. It's that range folding. So it's not really giving us the great look. Now down here, here's our radar right here. See the donut hole right around the radar site? The radar site sits out at Wilmington Air Park with the Weather Service and or just off the property, really. We got a couple mile donut hole ring around it where there's no data. And then just south of there. So we're actually getting pretty good returns right here. Not all uncommon sometimes with certain setups where you get really good returns close to the radar, and in another spot you get terrible returns. And there's nothing up here to really affect this as far as things on the ground per se, but alas, it happens sometimes. Just one of those limitations. So watching over here around Cuba, some weak rotation, and then here's our other area of concern right here that we've been watching, but not real sure exactly what it's doing just yet. But you're going to treat it as if something's going to happen. Now, as we extrapolate this out, it's been moving pretty much to the east. Sabina, and then even in the Washington courthouse, eventually that's going to start impacting you. So it'll kind of gradually make its way up to US 22. Down here, maybe eventually towards the Leesburg area. Not so bought on the northern side of that. So if you're kind of along the northern side of that box, probably not so much, but I definitely keep a close eye on it. But definitely Cuba to the Leesburg area, if you're near, kind of along this line right in here, I would be concerned for sure. That one is moving there, and you can see some of these have spooled up quite rapidly too. Let's see. Just checking out a couple things here. Okay, so let me see if we have any great comments in our chat tonight. I'm sure we got a couple. Again, the kid's gone. He's in bed. Yeah, right over Cuba right now. That's a pretty good area of rotation. US 68, just east of Cuba now with that latest update right in here. That's not a bad area of rotation at the moment. Everything kind of, that wasn't the radar going. That was actually the map below updating. But that's not terrible at this point, but again, we're pretty close to the radar, so it's going to be hard to see up. And we're seeing below, but if what we need to see is still above it, we kind of got to look a little bit above it. So we can try that, but sometimes it's not great either. It's a little bit behind, but there you go. This is a higher tilt, so we're looking higher up. This is a little bit behind, doesn't update quite as rapidly, but certainly some spinning there going on, even in towards the mid-levels as well. So that is definitely a couple things we are monitoring right now. I'm still trying to get to this post here. I am so sorry. There's a lot going on. We got our auto post working again as well. And let's look at that. Okay, Salina, yeah, you're pretty much in the clear now. You can go to bed. I can't exactly put tracks on this. There's a whole bunch of reasons why, so my apologies. I don't have the software that does that. Will the storm stay strong going east? They're holding their own right now. It depends, though. Let's pop over to our reflectivity here. Oh, wow. Okay, so if you are near, if we're looking at that storm that's just east of Cuba there, that one is really trying to get organized. Look at this. Wow. Now, we got a good view of this because we're so close to the radar. Here's the radar. Look at this inflow notch. We got some good rotation trying to get going here. Again, sometimes reflectivity gives us a better idea as to what to expect than our velocity that we've been staring at. And at other times, it's the opposite. Just kind of depends. In this case, we have a really good inflow notch. That's what we call that going into there. So that is definitely rearing to get going here. So that is definitely something I want to continue to watch. Further north, I think we're going to start losing that. I think we lost that rotation for the most part. But you can see here, even on our velocity, it's trying to kind of hook out a little bit here. So it's trying to do something and get some things going. Still some good shear right in here. We're kind of crossing over right now a little bit because we're crossing over the radar. So stuff's going to look a little bit different and flop back around because of us passing the radar. But definitely a nice little notch in there of shear at the very least. But that would not take much to really wrap in and then actually do something. Further north right now, they did update the warning. Again, not a whole lot. They say it's near Sabina, but there's not a whole lot to go on because there's not much up there to reference. No damage, no reports of anything, but right now really it's just north of US 22, I would say, is more of our area of concern right in here. Again, doesn't look nearly as bad as it did earlier, right? But wouldn't take much, just maybe a little inflow to come in, and that could certainly create a little spin up too. That stuff happens very, very rapidly. So, you know, it's hard to catch sometimes. We're gonna try to stay on both of these here the best that we can. Yeah, still, we definitely, okay, as things are going here, you can see we got a nice little inflow notch up here starting to show up on radar as it kind of pushes to the east of the radar. And here's our nice little inflow notch down here north of Martinsville on our other area of rotation as well. Basically just splitting Wilmington more or less. And this is in a way, this is a kind of a sign that these things are fairly healthy. So they're going to continue to kind of track off to the east. Now, eventually, I think what will happen here is these will eventually gust out and go away. But when that happens is to be determined. It looks like Wilmington got a gust of 45 miles an hour, it looks like. 49 miles an hour, my bad, right there at the airport. So nice little gust of wind off of that storm. That's pretty good. All right, we're going way back in the comments now. So please, folks, if you're asking about my area, I can't cover everybody. We don't really particularly do that too much. So I can't answer everybody's questions because that's all I would do. I'd never cover anything. So we're not going to play that one. Sorry. Moving on here. Okay. All right, very well. Okay, here we go. Let's look at some velocity data here. We're going to get some updates as well. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to look at a couple things here. I'm going to look at, that's interesting. And that one's not too bad either. Okay, let's look at here. Let's look at here. Very good. So I'm just looking at some higher tilts of our velocity scan here. We did have a nice 74 mile an hour wind gust back in Montgomery County near Woodbourne Hyde Park. Also had 45 miles an hour, or excuse me, 49 miles an hour at the Dayton Wright Brothers Airport. And we have wind damage in Overlook Page, just east of Dayton. Looks like we had shingles off a home. A roof was destroyed on another. 53 mile an hour winds in Butler, Ohio. Were also some damages. 55 miles an hour at the Dayton International Airport, 58, and 52 miles an hour up at Springfield Airport were also reported recently as well. So just keeping you up to date on some of the damage that we have seen earlier. I do, real quick, want to go just south near Batavia here. I don't see any particular areas of concern rotation-wise. Except for one, and it's kind of out, not really anything crazy. It's very, very broad. That's what this particular little arrow means, this broad rotation. But you can see we still got some storms pushing through the east side of Cincinnati. Here's I-275 on the eastern side, Amelia, Batavia, Owensville, Newtonsville, towards Fayetteville. Still severe thunderstorm warning in effect here. I believe that goes until 9:45, if I remember correctly, and that will be about right. I would anticipate perhaps another warning east of that as well. Not one issued yet, but I would anticipate that. So if you are east of there, I would be ready for that to come in. It's going to be windy. I think you'll definitely see some good wind gusts off of it. We had 50 miles an hour off of it earlier there at Cincinnati. Oh, we've got a correction to our wind report at Wilmington there. It's actually 56 miles an hour, so a little bit stronger than we had previously mentioned. Let's go ahead and dive back into these two tornado-warned storms. Still got some nice inflow notches on these, and we still have areas that are trying to really rotate. You can kind of see we've resolved some of those range folding issues, so that's good. That's given us a better view. That is certainly good. Now, the other thing we want to watch here just to the west of Sabina is this area of rotation is definitely trying to wrap up again. So if you are along US 22 from pretty much just west of Sabina towards Washington Courthouse, you want to keep a real close eye on that because that could spin up pretty quick. Additionally, our other area of rotation, it's not as prominent right now, but it's here just north of New Vienna. Kind of got the inflow right here, and then we got it wrapping around right in here. It's not very, I could zoom in real close on this and it still wouldn't look all that great. Here it's a little bit different. We have our inflow coming in here and it's kind of wrapping around that way. This is a little bit more discreet when I see that, whereas this one here, everything's kind of moving the other way. See, it's trying to wrap up a little bit more there. This isn't quite with this scan as crazy, but it's certainly broad. There's still something trying to rotate there as it moves into Sabina right now along US 22. And then this out here is generally in farmland for the most part as it continues moving off to the east. Again, right now, no reports of any tornado damage, no tornado sightings or anything like that. It's dark out, 9:35 at night, and these are rain wrapped. You're not going to see it at all. The time you see it, it's hitting you. You'll realize it when it hits you, and that's about it. But I don't see anything right now that's showing that there's a tornado that could possibly be on the ground, which is good. Let's see here. I want to see one other thing too. Okay, let's check out our correlation coefficient here. I want to back up just slightly if I can. Nope, too far. Okay. So it looks like earlier near Sabina, I'm going to have to zoom in on it. That would probably help. This is a little old, folks, so it's a little bit behind. Near Sabina, we might have had something that got hit. It's really hard to say, but these bluish and greenish pixels here, if you will, those are things that don't correlate well, things around it. So it shows up as what we call a drop. It's a low, it means it doesn't correlate with the rain or anything like that. So it shows us those lower things. When we start seeing similar colors, it means they're the same. You can kind of see that one away for the most part. So it's possible there could have been a brief spin up or something there. Nice thing is we're kind of close to the radar, so it's not so bad, but at the same time, these things occurring right along the front of something also kind of muddy it up a little bit too. Still going to continue these tornado warnings here till about 9:45 or so, and we'll definitely stay with it, especially as it moves towards the Washington Courthouse area. Our one area of rotation is right over Sabina right now, and then our second area of rotation, let me move this up just a touch here, is kind of out in farmland, and it's right here. That's our other area of rotation. If you're north of Sabina, if you're on that northern side, I know it's covered by our banner, but this warning goes all the way up to about Millridge, I believe it is. If you're north of there, you're clear. You're not in any sort of near any sort of tornado warning storm. But if you're along US 22 towards Washington Courthouse to Sabina, I would be keeping a very close eye on this storm. That's been generally moving to the east for the most part. So this is going to cross over 22. It's going to stay south, but it could perhaps impact that south side of Washington Courthouse there, right, in about 10 to 15 minutes at the most. This area rotation is going to stay pretty much over rural farmland for quite a while. It's not really going to affect very many populated areas, but again, there's still some homes out there and things like that, so we definitely want to make sure they get some coverage as well, but it's fairly rural right now. And then let's go back over to our reflectivity. Okay. We do have a new tornado warning that just popped up. This is interesting. It's near Jeffersonville, folks, and it's going to head towards Columbus eventually. So here's a new tornado warning for southwestern Franklin, northern Fayette, northwestern Pickaway, and southern Madison County until 10:15. It's near Jeffersonville, moving east at 55 miles an hour. This is a very large warning for a very small area, but right here, here's our area of rotation just over Jeffersonville. Whole bunch of places impacted here: Newport, Commercial Point, Chenworth, Orient, Darbyville, Derby, Lily Chapel, South Solon, Georgetown, South Bloomfield, Madison Mills, Harrisburg, Brookwalter, Darby Dale, Midway, Big Plain, Mount Sterling, and Wrightsville. Not all of these places are going to get impacted. I think right now, if you're north of I-71, you're not going to be severely impacted by this. But if you're along and south of I-71, you're going to want to keep an eye on this right now. That's that's a developing area of rotation. And if we look at, again, our reflectivity, there's that notch. Here's this little finger out here, right? There it is. That's spinning this way. And then here's our other one down here near Sabina, looking real good as well. That's our second storm. If you're in Milledgeville, you're in between all of this, you're okay. You got a nasty storm, but you're not going to see any tornadic activity. We do have some cells starting to fire out ahead of this as well. We're keeping an eye on those, and some of our team members are also keeping an eye on it for me as well. Not sure if they're going to do anything, but earlier, if you joined our live, we did see that occur on some of our modeling, but not to a greater extent than what we're actually seeing. If you'll bear with me just a moment, folks, I got to do one thing real quick, otherwise you're not going to hear me. To do a quick battery change on the old microphone, otherwise you won't hear me at all. Good microphone, just chews through batteries. All right, let's go check out our radar here again. A couple other warnings. Okay, Washington Courthouse. Oh, we got a few things going, folks. Okay, 2 new tornado warnings. Here we go. First one, Central Fayette, Northeastern Clinton, Southwestern Pickaway, and Northwestern Ross County. That's a tornado warning until 10:15. That's that area we've been watching rotation there for a little while. That's moving east at 55 miles an hour. That's the one near Sabina initially. So we got a whole bunch of places impacted here. We got Washington Courthouse, Deer Creek Lake, Clarksburg, Staunton, Williamsport, New Holland, Bloomingburg, Jasper Mills, and Plano. All impacted by that one. We also have another one just south of there. That's the one that's going to continue for 2 more minutes. I'm sorry, that one's been there. So this one here near Leesburg, that is going to expire here shortly. They may issue a new one though here. We'll see. And then here's our one near Sabina coming into Washington Courthouse. So if you're in Washington Courthouse right now, south of US 22, just west of 62, you need to be taking shelter because that is moving in fairly quick. And additionally, further north, it's not looking super great, but there is rotation there. Just south of Midway, just north of I-71. Yeah, that's a little bit behind. How about this one? Anything here? That's a little bit better. These are higher up tilts of the radar. We're close to it, so we're shooting anywhere between 2,000 and 4,000 feet, depending on where we're at. We're at about 2,000 feet here. We do still have broad rotation, 4,000 feet up here in Jeffersonville. You can still see kind of some rotation in with that as well. And it looks like they did extend that tornado warning. So let's take a look at that. New tornado warning now for southeastern Fayette, east central Clinton County, northwestern Highland County, and northwestern Ross County till 10:15. That's going to be south of the Washington Courthouse warning. It's moving east at 55 miles an hour. It's near Leesburg, and we don't have a ton of locations, but Greenfield, Good Hope, East Monroe, Andersonville, Rock Mills, Austin, Frankfort, New Martinsburg, and Highland, all in the path of that particular storm. So that's kind of another area of rotation that is developing. Yeah, we just got, well, we've been following that one. I take that back. They're all starting to go together now. It's kind of interesting. They're not super great areas of rotation. Let me see if I can get this to come out a little bit more here. Okay, here we go. A lot going on. We have an area of rotation here. We have an area of rotation right here, although it's weakening. And then we have this area of rotation here. It doesn't look super great. Let's flip over to our reflectivity and let's see if we see some nice inflow notches. Little bit, not a ton. Best one's actually up here on a northern storm. Nice, decent inflow notch here, just crossing over I-71 right now. It's right here. Jeffersonville back here. Washington Courthouse has a nice little inflow notch as well. That's just hitting the west side of town right now. So I'd definitely be taking shelter. And then further south, we got a little inflow notch, we got a mini notch. Now what's going to be interesting is how this line interacts with these strong cells that just popped up out ahead of it. Sometimes when we see this, as the energy in these cells gets absorbed by the line of storms, it can create quick little spin-ups. Now, good news is, in a way, we're relatively close to the radar right here. We could see that, perhaps. We're getting pretty decent updates. It's very possible, but it's also very possible it happens so fast, it gets missed entirely. So we're gonna kind of keep an eye on that, because that is something that can happen from time to time when you see the merging of cells. Weird things happen when we do this, but this line's gonna overrun these cells. And so as they absorb their energy and become part of that line, sometimes we can get quick little spin-ups like that. It varies wildly, but we'll keep an eye on it. But still a pretty gnarly line of storms there across southwestern Ohio here as this continues to push off to the east at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. I'm gonna look at what we got going on elsewhere right now. Not too much. There's a severe thunderstorm warning that kind of surrounds all of this. It goes until 10 o'clock. And we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning that it's going to affect the Columbus metro. Let me flip over just real quick and show you that one too. So that one's going to be this big, huge box right here that affects the Columbus area. So Franklin County, Western Fairfield, Eastern Fayette, Pickaway, Southern Delaware, Western Licking, Northeastern Highlands, Southeastern Union, Madison, and Ross counties until 10:45. That's a severe thunderstorm warning outside of the tornado warnings. All for that line of storms. That line is moving east at about 60 to 65 miles an hour. 60-mile-an-hour winds are certainly possible. Maybe some hail as well. I'm not going to read all the cities impacted by this. I think if you can see this box and if you're in it, so the line actually is just right here. On the north side there, and then here's our other box. This is our new severe thunderstorm warning that includes the Columbus metro. Here's our 3 tornado warnings right now. This one may impact the southern Columbus metro. I'm not sold on that yet, but it may stay just south of it. We'll keep an eye on it, and then as we get towards Circleville, we'll want to keep an eye on these 2 cells as well. They could certainly impact Circleville here in about the next, we'll say about the next half an hour. They're moving pretty quick, so it could even be a little less time than that. Transitioning back over to our other tornado warning cells. Let's take a look at some velocities. Nothing that looks too crazy. I think if anything, right now, southernmost cell right now down here, this one looks like it's trying to wrap some things in just a little east of Leesburg there, a little bit better on that scan. The one near Washington Courthouse is kind of almost all but disappeared, but it was right here earlier. And then our other one in our northern warning is under our logo. My bad. There we go. Let's look at this one real quick. So it's actually kind of right in here. There's a little bit of shear near Madison Mills as well, but it looks like it's just crossing over I-71 right now, heading towards the Mount Sterling area. And that'll probably be there in about the next 5 minutes. They did just update that. You can see if you're in Midway, Jeffersonville, South Solon, and the points a little west where that warning was, you're out of that now. You're in the clear. Same with Sabina. You're in the clear now as well. That warning, that tornado warning for you, no longer in effect. That's going to pass south of Washington Courthouse. So if you're on the north side, north of US 22, I think right now you're good. Let me read this updated tornado warning real quick just to see if they hit anything in there. It might be of importance. It does not look like it. Nope. Down here, just east of Leesburg, moving towards Greenfield, that area is starting to look like decent rotation. Kind of see that right in here, and that's trying to get its act back together. That's trying to wrap back up and start spinning again. So this is an area we might keep an eye on. Again, we saw it earlier how quick it can happen. scan or two, and all of a sudden that area is rotating pretty well. So that's not a bad one given what we've seen this evening. How they're issuing these warnings isn't bad at all. The one near Washington Courthouse that was pretty prominent there near Sabina earlier seems to be gusting out a little bit. Let's take a look at our reflectivity again. And even on our northern one, let's see if we can do this here. Kind of. We're dealing with a lot of space. Best we can do. Okay, so here we kind of got this bowing out, so things are kind of gusting out a little bit, and we don't see that inflow notch that we saw earlier, right? But we have these cells that are kind of merging with it, so we're going to keep an eye on that. A little bit of an inflow notch right around the Washington Courthouse still, but not nearly as prominent as it was. And then for our southern storm, we actually got to move it down a little bit because we want to see a couple things here. So the first thing we want to see is we kind of see this little feature right here. And that's a kind of our inflow a little bit. So we kind of got a quasi inflow notch right here, but here's these cells that are starting to merge with this line. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see what happens with those. Again, that could sometimes cause a brief spin up as things begin to merge, storms colliding, anything goes. It's a wild card when that happens. So we'll kind of keep an eye and see just exactly what happens with that over the next few minutes there. It's not going to be much longer before those things merge together. Expecting a radar update here in just a few minutes. We're a couple minutes behind, it looks like, but should see something here momentarily. Elsewhere, not too much going on. It's starting to wind down here, which is good. Okay. Well, we got just a moment here. I do want to try to check some comments and see if we have anything else going on here just real fast. Appreciate all the help from all of our team members that joined us tonight too. It's always great. I also appreciate everybody joining us tonight as well. I know I can't answer everybody's question on when things are going to specifically be in their backyard. It's again, we'd be here all night. We wouldn't have very good coverage if we did that. So it's a little bit difficult, but definitely appreciate you hanging on in there with everything. Let's see what we got here. Okay. It just update the warning around the Washington Courthouse area, and that still goes till 10:15. The area of concerns right over Washington Courthouse, we kind of saw that a moment ago, but no real change in anything. The one just south there they updated as well. Looks like no real change in anything there either. It's near Greenfield, moving east to 55. Yep, just all kind of the same here. We are beginning to merge these cells though, so that is going to be a little bit interesting as it does so. And so let's take a look at this here and what we got going on. Could see some things kind of cycling back around here a little bit too. Sorry about some of the buffering, folks. I'm not sure why the video is buffering so much tonight. I'm not real sure. I do apologize for that. Okay, so let's take a look at some of this here since we just got a recent update. We do have some rotation that's kind of broad just south of Mount Sterling, east of Madison Mills. That's our northernmost warning. For our Washington Courthouse warning, our rotation is kind of down here. And then our other area of rotation it's really here. We're not really near anything. Northwest of South Salem, which isn't even in the warning, that is kind of weakening as well. So all this is starting to gust out, but we are merging some of these cells that were developing out ahead of this line as well. We'll see that when we go back over to our reflectivity. You can see they're kind of merging right now. So this kind of muddies the water. Anything goes. Nothing could happen. It could cause a lot of this to gust out. It could cancel out rotation. It could create rotation. You can kind of see we're merging the cells here, or merging cells up here near Mount Sterling, and we have some of this other moisture kind of working its way in. There's still some cells out here near Circleville, east of Circleville, Stoutsville, and towards Amanda that are eventually going to be absorbed by all this as well. Those won't be very strong. Nice little notch here. So we may be watching rotation here too. Well, that's what we were watching. I take that back. You can see it looks better there. Nice little inflow notch. We kind of still have maybe some broad rotation just to the southeast of Washington Courthouse. Further north, again, we got good inflow, not much else going on. Whatever is there is very broad at the moment as that cell kind of merges. So this is why we kind of have to wait and see with this cell near Good Hope just now really starting to merge. That line just starting to run it over now. So we'll kind of see what happens as it does so here over the next couple of minutes. Looks like we should have an update. A few seconds here. And still waiting, maybe in the next couple seconds. Let's see. Nope, nothing. Okay. A little slow on some of the updates here. We did get an update on velocity. Not looking as prominent as it was earlier. South of Mount Sterling right now. Again, still kind of that broad rotation up here as those cells merge. But unless this comes together better, I don't particularly think that's all that concerning right now. Near Good Hope, we got those cells merging. I don't see too much, and I don't see a whole lot here. But sometimes, again, reflectivity tells a better picture as to what's going on compared to velocity. Maybe a little bit of that there going on right now. Look at our other base velocity. I don't see anything standing out here too much either at the moment. So those are good signs. We'll kind of stay with some of this here. Whoops, my bad. I'm giving you all sorts of fits. I'm sorry. We're definitely going to stay with this here as these warnings continue. They continue through about 10:15 on, I think, all of them. Yes, so we'll stay with those for about another 15 minutes here and kind of see what happens. If these do all expire and the warnings are done, I will likely end our live stream for the moment, but we're going to keep an eye on this for at least the next 15 minutes. The one near South Salem here, this one right here, right over Greenfield, that's a nice little notch. And again, we weren't really seeing much on our velocity, but here's a nice little inflow notch. So this is something I definitely want to watch, especially as it continues kind of trucking along to the east. It's right along State Route 28. It'll stay north of South Salem, generally over the rural portions of the area there. Probably stay just south of Frankfort as well, although it may move a little closer to that. It's broad, but we'll keep an eye on it. Further north, now we're merging cells near New Holland and Clarksburg, and this looks real messy, unfortunately. Yeah, there's not much rotation there. Really not even much here on velocity with our South Salem area cell. And then further north, near Mount Sterling, just to the east of US 62, approaching Darbyville. If you're in Big Plain and Orient, there's really not much of a tornado threat for you guys. If you're north of I-71 in this tornado warning, you guys are good. You can call yourselves clear and everything like that. It's a nice storm moving through. It may sound scary. A lot of rain, maybe even some hail in there too. But the tornado threat is actually south of you. It's going to be near Derby, moving towards Orient at best. Again, it's not much, but we do kind of have some inflow here as those cells merged. We could see something try to spin up. Could. It's possible. It's got to look like it wants to try. But it's not doing too great at the moment. But we're definitely going to keep an eye on it. Did get a report of large trees down just east of Harveysburg a moment ago. Looks like State Route 73 maybe is, yes, it is closed just east of Harveysburg due to downed trees. Keep that there. Elsewhere, northern Ohio, folks, you guys are going to see some gusty winds, some brief heavy rain, some thunder, lightning, not a lot. These storms are west of Cleveland through pretty much like Lorain and Oberlin, and then the line kind of continues down through just east of Willard, northwest of Mansfield, moving to the east side of Bucyrus through Marion, and then towards Marysville before we get to the more severe stuff. But none of this is severe. There is some showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder kind of popping up from Alliance to Canton, Akron, down towards Lodi, Worcester, and even up towards Brunswick. None of this is severe. I am not expecting any severe weather right now for northeastern Ohio. So if you're watching us from northeastern Ohio and you're very concerned about tornadoes, I don't see that we're going to see much in any severe weather, really. I don't see anything that strikes me as severe. Could be briefly strong, could see, again, some gusty winds near below what we would otherwise thunderstorm or tornado watch east of our current tornado watch that goes till 1 a.m. Nothing for southeastern Ohio. As this gets towards southeastern Ohio and gets on the east side of Columbus, I do think it's going to transition more to just past midnight. It's mainly a wind threat. We lose a lot of the dynamics we would need. This is starting to outrun some of the stuff that it was rooted in earlier. We're just not going to see that tornado threat. It was definitely best across southwestern Ohio and in points south and west outside of Ohio, which, you know, near, say, like the Louisville area where we got a couple tornado warnings, and then into the lower Ohio Valley, near Evansville, down towards then Paducah and whatnot. There was definitely a better threat down that way, and that even gets into the Tennessee Valley, where we have several couple tornado watches in effect through the late evening hours. So I think as we go here, we're going to start seeing things kind of gradually wrap up. So we do have, again, the storms moving into the west side of the Columbus Metro. I'll show that here. I also want to show one other thing too, because I know someone's going to probably point it out and freak out, and they're going to see in this little pink triangle right here. It's hard to see, but someone's going to see it's got 5 on it. This is what we call a tornado vortex signature, and a lot of times with these lines, these things don't particularly mean anything. They're kind of false positives, if you will. But it's a radar-derived thing, and basically the idea of it is it points out areas where it thinks there's potential for tornadoes, but they can be notoriously wrong, so I don't particularly. So if you see this is one of them. It's especially with now just moving into the I-270 area, I-70 west of 270, getting into Dublin, getting around Ohio State. So it's going to really impact downtown Columbus in probably about the next 10 minutes. Let's go back down to our tornado warning storm. I don't want to forget about you guys. This hasn't been a whole lot going on with it. I think it is kind of starting to gust out to an extent here. Yeah, not much rotation. That's good, guys. That's good. That's good. No, even down here towards Frankfort, our storm down here, really not doing a whole lot. We did just get an update on the warning, so we're probably going to see the other two get chopped off pretty quick too. Our northernmost warning, we still are going to continue the tornado warning for southwestern Franklin, northeastern Pickaway till 10:15. That's about another 9 minutes. It has the storm near Grove City moving east at 55. Haven't seen anything Grove City being here, but really it's kind of more down, is further south than that, because Grove City is almost out of the warning. So it's really right in here around Orient, Derby, Commercial Point, kind of in that area. But again, not really much of anything spinning right now at all, which is great. Could be a couple reasons to this. We're further away from the radar, and it could also just be transitioning more to a linear event. So let's look at some higher scans, and I don't see much rotation there. Directional shear. Our warning that goes from Washington Courthouse, New Holland to Williamsport, again, don't see much there. They haven't updated that one yet. There's the update on it. See how they chopped it off? And yeah, I don't particularly see a whole lot here. I would imagine they're just going to let these continue until they expire. This warning will get updated shortly, but maybe a little bit right here. We're out, and there's not much on here. This is heading towards Frankfurt. It's probably almost to Frankfurt, to be honest with you. And I don't particularly see a whole lot here. I got rain and storms moving through right now as well. So if the feed all of a sudden cuts out, that means my power went out, guys. But not too likely. Yeah, 5,000 feet or so. There's some broad rotation. I'd call that mid-level rotation almost. But it's not really translating down to the surface. So as we can see here, it's pretty muddy. Actually, it's updated now. That was an even older scan. Not too much going on there. So I'm anticipating that these warnings are going to expire here right at 10:15. Again, if they do so, we're going to go ahead. We'll end our live stream. They did update to 10:40. Right here up towards Delaware and everything. You can see here's that TVS right there. It is. It says up to about 14,000 feet, and yeah, I don't really see anything here, guys. So even if we hit some of the higher scans, yeah, this is very broad. So some of these, sometimes, again, they're not, you got to take those with a grain of salt. They're not all they're cracked up to be. Again, our storm's now impacting the west side of Columbus and points south, moving along US 23 here real soon, guys. Probably from Circleville towards Columbus, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. From Columbus south to Circleville, and then from there towards Chillicothe. It's probably going to be more on the 15 to maybe 20-minute side before everything starts impacting you guys. Looks like we're starting to hear some reports of damage around the Jeffersonville area. I don't have anything to show here on the radar per se with it right now, but apparently there are some reports coming in. Keep an eye on that while we're with you. I'm going to check out a couple more things here just real quick as we kind of wait for a couple other updates to come in. While we're doing that, they did update our southernmost tornado warning. Still goes till 10:15. Moving east at 55 miles an hour near Williamsport. But again, we looked there not too long ago. It's just Williamsport doesn't populate on the map. It just not much there. It's if it's there, it's weak. It's real weak. I don't see a whole lot. No, not even on those higher scans. That's a real high scan. Yeah, I totally expect these things. They're going to drop off, I think, in about 5 minutes. They have not warned out any further ahead of it at this point. They got about no more than 5 minutes to really warn out ahead of it if they really want to. I just don't see them doing that right now. So, again, something that we'll just continue to watch, but I don't see them right now warning out ahead of it at the moment. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and we'll flip back over. Oh, we're on that radar. Excellent. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Got a couple things going on here with the radar. So we just got a new update here, so you can see we're starting to outrun some of our tornado warning polygons here. And look at the new update here. The only place it's not really much of a concern that I'd like to watch is between Commercial Point and Lockbourne. Do have a little bit right in here, kind of trying to interact with some stuff. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that over the next few minutes. Again, I expect the warnings to drop off here in just the next couple minutes at the most. They're all done at 10:15. Actually, they've expired. They canceled the southernmost warning near Frankfurt and Andersonville. So that one has expired. Well, they canceled rather. They canceled it a couple minutes early. I think these other two right now, they'll continue to watch. Just want to see.